Hi, welcome to Birds on Power Lines. We are doing another video podcast. So if you're listening to us on audio, you can head over to our YouTube channel at Birds on Power Lines podcast and you can see us. And you might want to do that because we are doing another travel podcast.
A travel podcast.
And we are in, and if you are on YouTube, you will see what's behind us.
Yes,
and we are evidently in Greece.
In Greece. We're in Athens right now, and the Acropolis is right behind us.
Yes, and you can see the Acropolis from the terrace of our hotel. We're staying in the Acro urban suites, and it's an amazing view. Beautiful Acropolis behind us, and that's sort of the backdrop. So I encourage you to come and look at that, because our last travel podcast, what we did was show photos of our trip in Sao Paulo. So here we're hoping to do video, and you can actually see some of the things that we're doing. So today we had an overnight flight, and just like we did when we went to Sao Paulo. So it was overnight here to Athens. So we were pretty tired, and then when we got here, we had a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, the taxis were on strike, so therefore there was no taxi, no Uber, no kind of personal vehicle service. So we all had to learn the rails of the Athens transportation system.
Exactly. So pretty much everyone who flew in today had to take the subway or the train, and it's actually above ground when you're at the subway. So everybody was doing so. It was kind of an unwelcome surprise, but it was okay because everybody was doing the same thing, so it actually made it a little bit fun. But therefore we were even more tired when we got to our hotel, because we actually had to roll our suitcases up the hill because clearly, because we have the Acropolis behind us, we're kind of up in Athens, so we had to roll up the hill. So we were pretty tired, and it's pretty hot. But even so we took a bit of a rest, and we went out to an area called Plaka.
Which is kind of like a bit of a more touristy area in Athens, but it's not what we normally do on our first day somewhere.
Yes.
But since we were very tired,
we're not shopping is not usually on our bucket list when we go somewhere. Usually we'll want to go and see things like what we see behind us as Acropolis. But it was good. We needed something to eat. So we had these
some pastry type pie meal things,
right? And and my pastry was filled with leeks and cheese,
and mine was spinach and cheese and a bit of dill, which
really tasted good. We taste each other's food. and then we had some gelato, and I had a tiramisu one, and that's pretty standard for me, but I was really surprised because this one actually you could really taste that coffee liqueur. So it's like, oh yes, I'm in Europe. And it was really it was good. I enjoyed it, but it was not my typical tiramisu gelato that I would have back home.
Yeah, and I figured since I'm in the area where all this came from, I would have a baklava gelato, and it was very good. There was pieces like pretty big chunks of baklava in it. It was pretty good. It was
it was like
all like honey, and I'm not actually sure what kind of nut that was, but it was honey and
I think it's supposed to be. I thought it's walnuts.
Walnut?
I think it's walnuts.
Probably walnut.
Yeah, you guys can correct us, but I think in baklava it's walnuts. I'm pretty sure. Otherwise it would be almonds.
Yeah, it was either an almond or a walnut. I think it was probably a walnut.
But so good.
It was very good.
So not your typical gelato that we would see. And then since we're in Athens, we were counting cats.
Yes.
And that's in reference to one of our other podcasts that we did on video for Dead Boy Detectives. So if you've seen Dead Boy Detectives, you know why we're counting cats for fun. And we got to eight cats
we saw
today.
8 cats so far. Probably there's definitely more out at night, but it's
So if you've never been to Greece, the cats are wild. People feed them and leave water out for them all over the place, and they're just they pretty much own the city, I guess. So so we had a bit of fun, and there was one girl who didn't even realize that there was a cat at her feet, and she kind of jumped, and she was like, "Oh my God, there's a cat there!" But there was that, and then you noticed.
Yeah, I noticed that there are also navigation aids for the visually impaired in the streets of Athens, just like there were in Sao Paulo. Right. We found that in Sao Paulo, and now, actually here in a lot of places, the sidewalks are made of marble, especially like around the Acropolis that I noticed. and these aids are actually also made of marble in these areas instead of just regular like rubberized.
Yeah, rubberized. It's kind of like a plastic.
Yeah, rubberized
right?
plastic. They're actually made of marble in those places. It's very interesting.
And then you can see a lot, of course, like we did in Sao Paulo, those same things for the visually impaired, but made out of like that rubberized plastic kind of stuff. But it was kind of neat seeing them made out of marble. And then talking about sidewalks, when there's the Acropolis Museum. We didn't go in it yet. I think we might do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's particularly during the hot part of the day because we'd be inside. But there was part of the sidewalk there that was transparent. So we haven't decided whether it was plastic or glass. So I'm really leaning towards like
I think it was plastic.
Think so?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. Because I was like plastic.
We can try and find out.
Anyways,
tomorrow.
It doesn't matter. It's transparent, so you can walk over it and look down and see the ruins underneath, which is like really cool. And it's a little disconcerting because it's pretty deep.
Yeah.
So you're walking over it and you're like, anyway. So that was really neat.
Yeah.
So more adventures looking at that tomorrow, I think. But other than that, I think today we're just going to wait for this baby to get lit up. I mean, it's actually starting. You probably can tell. It's starting to get lit up.
A little bit. You can see
you can start to see it. We just weren't sure how much you would see if we did this when it was fully lit up. But yeah, you can see it starting to light up, and we might do this again tomorrow from the same position and tell you what we did tomorrow.
Yep.
And we'll see. Otherwise, I don't know what we'll do. We'll be spontaneous. But yeah, so if you're listening to this on audio, if you want to see some of the things that we're seeing, you might want to try and head over to our YouTube channel and actually see that. So again, that would be Birds on Powerlines podcast, and you can sort of find us there. And you can explore other things on Birds on Powerlines. We do other things like there's art and hikes and stuff like that. So a mix of stuff. So you can find us there, and hopefully you can enjoy this travel podcast with us. It might take us a couple of podcasts to get it all done because we're going to be here for a while. This is a special trip. So this one just graduated. So we're doing something special. So anyhow, and we will catch you on our next installment of this podcast. And keep listening, and we hope that you'll enjoy this. Thank you. So this is our second day in Athens. And if you are listening to us on audio, again, if you can, it would be great if you could catch us on our YouTube channel, because we're doing this with video. And
podcast.
The idea is that we've been doing video every day. Well, today is the first day that we're doing this, and we're going to have an inset with things that we've seen each day. That's our hope. So, and if you're looking at us on YouTube, it should show up
right over here
in the upper corner
above the Acropolis.
That's where I'm intending on putting it, above the Acropolis, which is, if you are listening to us on audio, if you go to YouTube, you will see the Acropolis, because we are once again for day 2.
We're on the terrace of our hotel.
Yes, the Acro Urban Suites. So today we were pretty busy. So actually we had to write this down.
Yeah, we have a list.
we just so that we didn't forget. So we started off breakfast at a really nice cafe.
Yeah.
And it's close to this hotel, and I can't remember the name of the place, but that we had wonderful croissant and Greek marmalade, yogurt. Greek yogurt with honey and
fresh
fruit and Greek granola. So it was amazing. So that was how we started our day. And you had a Greek coffee.
Yeah. I
oh yes, you learned something new.
I didn't know that apparently most coffee you get in like North America is filtered.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that.
So Greek coffee has the coffee at the bottom of the cup. So
I drank.
We learned. I knew this, but I didn't drink coffee. This one learned this morning. So there you go.
Yeah.
But was it good? Greek coffee?
Yeah, it was good. It
was very good. And actually, they have. We learned that they have it in different levels of sweetness.
Yeah.
And today we were out for lunch, or was it later on? And they said to Dad, we have. What? Oh, that was this morning.
No, that was this morning.
He said we have 10 levels of sweetness.
10 levels of sweetness. That's a lot. Yeah.
So, and sweet, 10 is
like 3
tablespoons of sugar. Like so really, really, really sweet. So, and you guys had like a medium or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was what we learned this morning. And then we came back to the inn, and then we started our day.
Yep.
So the first thing that we went to do is that we went to Hadrian's Arch, or Arc of Hadrian.
Yep.
And hopefully you'll see that video. And if not, go, like I said, come to YouTube and have a look at it. So we started off there, and again, it was very hot today.
Yeah, it was apparently it got up to over 42
degrees centigrade today. So as an idea, and it's sort of a dry heat, right?
Yeah.
Dry heat. But yeah, so we were at the Arc of Hadrian. And then we went to Temple of the Olympian Zeus, which was nice.
There's a lot of scaffolding on.
There's a lot of scaffolding there, and that's the thing. If you come here, you can see that they're really. It takes a long time to put these things back together. So they're working on that, and so that was the second stop. And then we went to the garden Zeppeion. I always want that sounds French. That's not right.
That's definitely not right.
So how would you say it? Zeppeion.
Yeah, I would say Zeppeion.
Zeppeion. So that apparently there's a garden around there, and apparently that used to be the Queen's Garden or something like that.
And now it's just a national garden.
Yeah, so now it's the national garden.
It's open to the public and stuff, and we're probably going to go back to that area tomorrow.
Right.
Yep.
Because we
want to see
we don't want to say anything yet because
yeah,
we don't know how things are going to turn out. So
we'll try to go back to that.
We have plans, but we'll see how it turns out. So then we thought we would go and look at the Acropolis Museum because we have a ticket that includes a bunch of stuff. But it doesn't include that.
Yeah, apparently not.
So we would have to get a separate ticket, and the ticket is only good for one day, and we didn't have enough time. So that we definitely want to try and do in the morning. So that we will do tomorrow. Because the reason we were pressed for time is that we were going to meet a tour guide. We had a tour guide today. We hired a car to take us around a little bit. So that's what happened. So we didn't have enough time to see the museum today. So we came back and we met our tour guide, really great guy, Spiros. And, I'll probably put a link to his, stuff.
Yeah, his travel service. And
he has a travel service. He's a real sweet guy. He gave us this nice book on Greece and all the things that we saw, and he signed it and everything. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But so he took us around, and so it was like a 4-hour thing.
Yeah,
so it was really flexible what we wanted to do. But so the first place we went was the Olympic Stadium. So that would be the modern Olympics. So the first modern Olympic stadium, and that was dated from 1895. So that is, so that's where we went first. And all we did was just walk around the outside, because we would have a separate ticket, and that would take 45 minutes, to do that. And we really wanted to see other stuff. So we did that. And then we had a treat because something we didn't even think about doing, but he took us to,
there's like a little strip on, where there's like 3 very major buildings all in a row. So there's the National Academy, it's a public
university.
Public university, and then the University of Athens Public University, and the National Library, all right next to each other.
Yeah, and the first one, the National Academy.
Yeah.
Wow. And hopefully you'll be able to see video of that. So it was really impressive. It had, like that was,
to me, that one was probably the
fanciest and then the best kind of repair, right? Because a lot of historical sites are being worked on, right, and repaired and stuff. But this is like, it
looked very.
It was beautiful, like really beautiful. And so we had 15 minutes to look at.
Walk around,
so we didn't go inside. We were just looking on the outside, but a real treat because we weren't expecting that. But he stopped there and showed us that, and then we went to ancient Agora, which is really interesting. I had a lot of fun there. There's a lot of ruins there. It was hot. There's a lot of ruins there, and it really, I guess it was an ancient town, right?
And then there was like I think there was a bit of some temples or some
Yeah,
small
and there
temples.
was, and it's kind of interesting that apparently Saint Paul, right? Saint
Yeah.
Paul went there to try and convert people,
Mhm.
and you can learn a little bit about, where he was successful and where he wasn't successful, and
Mhm.
it's sort of like there's plaques out there, and there's
Mhm.
actually a museum there that you can go inside.
Mhm.
We did not go inside. We just were looking at the ruins, and I went all the way around.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
ran because we had 45 minutes because I
Mhm.
was really curious. Because I want to get some video from up above. You can go up these steps, and there's a temple up there. But
Mhm.
then there was a little part where there used to be actually a Jewish temple, and there
Mhm.
was talking about that, and how they know that was there.
Mhm.
And then, this is something that I really love are water clocks. If you don't know what ancient water clocks are like, you should go look those up. But there's a place in ancient Agora
Mhm.
where there was a water clock, and that's marked, so you can sort of see where the water clock was, and it sort of explains a little bit about it. But if apparently, because I actually do a little because I teach, I do a little session on robotics, and the very first water clocks are considered the first kind of robots, not that
Mhm.
they're because they were mechanical devices
Mhm.
helping people do things that they would otherwise have to, anyways.
Mhm.
It's like the definition of that. But anyway, so we've got this ancient water clock there,
Mhm.
which was a treat because I had no idea that we would see that I would see that. Did you get to see
No,
that?
I didn't get to see.
Okay, because we got a little separated because
Yeah.
I was
You
I
were
was
going
like
around.
running.
Yeah.
And then
I
of
was taking
course,
pictures of the ruins.
yes, you were taking pictures, and I was just, and it was
Yeah.
really funny because there was a sprinkler going when I was up at the top,
Mhm.
and all the kids were running through it and
Mhm.
having a blast because, like I said, it's like 40, it was 42
Yeah, it
degrees.
was very
It's
hot.
still very warm actually out
Mhm.
here. So I actually don't know what temperature it
I don't
is,
know. Right now, it's a lot more comfortable.
but it was so cute. And I was thinking that, that is a universal thing because there's like
Yeah.
kids from all over the world here, right? Because
Mhm.
we're in Athens, and
Mhm.
they were all enjoying the sprinkler.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody in the world would just
Well, I mean,
enjoy the
everyone
sprinkler.
likes fountains.
Yeah,
It's basically
everyone loves
just a
fountains.
more
And,
mature version of a sprinkler.
and it was just so cute to watch the
Yeah.
kids, and the parents were having a blast too because we were just walking
Yeah.
through because it was so hot.
Mhm.
So there was that. So that was kind of neat. Sorry, I digress, but it was fun.
Anyway.
All right, so then we went, of course, to up there
Yep.
to the
All the way
Acropolis.
up to the Acropolis. And the temple's on top.
And the temple. So I'll
Mhm.
let you talk about that because I was
Yeah.
talking about the sprinkler.
Where was it?
So
Oh yeah. So the big one all the way up here that you're seeing behind us is the Parthenon. It's Temple of Athena. And I want to go here specific to Athens specifically for seeing that temple.
yes,
And then we also one thing that I kind of liked because I'm pretty big into music. If you listen to any of the podcasts, um, it was the Odeon of
Herodes Atticus.
Herodes Atticus. Yeah, so it's basically like a very large amphitheater, and I mean, the concerts are still
Yeah,
held
they
out here.
still
Yeah,
have. There
they
was
still.
actually a concert last night
Oh
because
really? Yeah.
while I was sitting here pretty
Yeah.
late, and there was lights
Yeah,
coming
so
up.
they've held concerts there for a
Yeah,
while.
and they're
They
usually
still do.
classical, right? I think
Yeah,
that's what
for
our
more
tour
than
guide
likely,
was saying.
they're
But
usually classical.
and they have lights and stuff, and they
Mhm.
were still cleaning up
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
So
We witnessed a landslide of cushions
yeah, and they've got
falling
cushions
down.
on the stone.
Yeah, on the marble. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
marble.
sure sitting there for hours
Yeah.
on marble
So,
would
and
not be
it's really
very
interesting.
fun.
They've got these cushions there for people to sit and be more comfortable.
Yeah, and then we also saw like around the Parthenon where
The old
was the
temple.
old Temple of Athena. That was the main thing. A
And
lot of things were roped off because they're in the process of
they're working on them. And then
repairing
there's
things.
one
Yeah.
that for Nike as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, you
Which
can
we couldn't go over to.
you couldn't go over
because
to
it was
that,
roped
but
off,
you can, if you look online, you can see
Mhm.
like the whole, like everything that's up there at the Acropolis. So but yeah, and
Mhm.
it's very busy, and that's the one thing is the marble and some of the it's really smooth and
Mhm.
slippery. Like it's
It's
like,
very slippery.
so if you go up there, make sure you have good shoes.
Good yeah,
And even
good
our tour
traction,
guide,
yeah.
the first thing he did is look to see if we had sport shoes on,
Yeah.
or good shoes. Don't
Mhm.
go up there with like flip flops and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Definitely not. Mhm.
It's not.
Yeah, it's very slippery, very smooth, very
Yeah.
hot, very dusty
and it's
and
also
windy.
really,
It's very windy.
it was windy up there too
Yeah.
today, but yeah, so it was, and it's really busy, but yeah, make sure that you have good shoes. That would be my advice. And like, it's so much so that Spiros checked our shoes.
Yeah,
And
checked
like,
our shoes.
he looked right
Yep.
down. He's like, okay, good shoes. Yes. All right. So then after that, then he took us for dinner,
Yeah, we went to dinner.
which was kind of a nice thing because, you know, like I said, he has his own travel business. And of course, these guys, they work with each other. But he took us to a nice restaurant out where we normally wouldn't have been. It was more in a
Very far away.
residential area, which was nice to see other parts of the city. And we had a lot of food.
Well, there was a lot of food. Yeah.
And we were, because who's here are the two of us, their dad, and my mother. So there's four of us, and there was
easily enough food there for 8 people.
For eight to 10 people, and then we apologized that we couldn't eat all the food.
Apparently, that's what they do.
Yeah, he said, we just wanted you to know what it's like to eat like a Greek, and we're like, okay. We didn't think you were going to eat all of it, so it's like, oh, right. So we felt kind of bad afterwards, but we didn't need to.
It was very good.
But it was very good, and so I guess the things that we had today, the stuffed tomatoes and stuffed peppers. We had that at lunch, and they had fried tomatoes for dinner.
Yeah, fried tomatoes.
And there was like something in those as well. And then fried cheese. And if you heard our podcast from Sao Paulo, we talked about fried cheese, but this is different fried cheese, and I'm getting into that.
It's like, it's more like, it's kind of a little bit baked almost.
Yeah,
it seems kind of baked,
and it was really good. And then of course there was also these sort of zucchini patties that we actually had also this for
yesterday.
Lunch. Oh, yesterday.
Yeah, we had it yesterday. Yeah.
And then, of course, we had tzatziki.
Pepper.
Stuffed peppers.
Yeah.
So stuffed peppers, stuffed eggplant at lunch. But then at dinner, we had the tzatziki. He had the eggplant, and there was also like if you ever eat Greek food, you know how you usually get the hummus on a plate. So the eggplant was like that on the plate, and he's told me it wasn't baba ganoush, it was eggplants. I always thought it was the same thing. And tzatziki was on the plate, and then this like a creamed feta cheese was also on the plate. So that was new. And then of course bread, and what else and then of course we had a Greek salad and then another salad. And then because
like there's a lot of the tomatoes and cucumbers and feta cheese. And olive oil as dressing.
And capers.
Capers,
There's capers in there. So one salad was a Greek salad, and the other one still had tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers and cheese, but there was also capers and olives, right?
And pasta with coriander.
We were trying cardamom. We were trying to figure out what that spice was, but it was really
pretty
good.
sure it was cardamom. I think it was cardamom.
Yes, and then because we don't eat meat, like if you've listened to the podcast, we're vegetarian, as is my mother, but their dad is not. So then he got like a huge platter of different grilled meats, French fries, and like
chicken,
so many, like
beef.
Okay, I think it's chicken, beef, pork, and I don't know, but it was so much meat, and there was a sausage, and today was a 6-cat day, by the way. We said we were going to say how many cats. So he actually
and there were 2 cats during dinner.
And the cute little thing was meowing because it was just getting spoiled because we couldn't eat all the.
So the cat got fed.
The cat got fed and made sure that the other cat did not get fed. But yes, it was a 6-cat day. We almost forgot to do that, so we're going to try.
We saw an extra cat after we recorded yesterday.
Oh yeah, so yesterday what was it? I can't remember, but there was one more cat. In addition to the ones we saw yesterday.
So there was one from yesterday, and then there was 6 more today.
So that's in reference then back to our Dead Boys Detectives Agency podcast. If you haven't seen that, please go check that out. But we're trying to count cats. And there's definitely way more than 6 cats in Athens for sure.
17 cats.
Well, 17 if you add them together.
Yes.
So, but we'll see. And then tomorrow, we'll surprise you tomorrow. So we'll continue the podcast tomorrow, and I think that's all for today.
Yes.
All right. So stay tuned. We're going to continue tomorrow. So today we are on our 3rd day of our Greek adventure. And if you are watching this on YouTube, you'll see we're no longer doing this on our terrace with the Acropolis in the background. And you might hear this, but you can hear the ocean.
It's very windy too.
And it's windy, which is why we've got the microphones here. So and it's windy, so we are actually on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
We are on a celebrityinfinity cruise, 7 nights.
Greek Isles and Turkey.
Greek Isles and Turkey. So today we just left port. So we didn't do too much today, although we did in the morning, as we had planned. We did go down to the Acropolis Museum, and it was fantastic.
It was very interesting. There was a lot of it was almost entirely comprised of marble sculptures and friezes and ancient relics and clay relics and such from the ancient Greek times.
Specifically the Acropolis.
Yes.
It was
focused on the Acropolis mostly.
But there was
a lot of like relics just from like around, probably just from generally around Athens. There were a lot of like little small metal statues, metalworking. There was a little section on how they painted the
because
statues.
the statues weren't white; they were painted. So they had like little part where they had where they're experimenting with different dyes, and I like to watercolor paint, so they had displays of all the different pigments and how you could do. Oh, and you saw that one little funny thing about some guy who dropped the palette.
And apparently some painter who was painting the Parthenon dropped his palette between the rocks, and it stayed there until I think 1994. They said. And so it just the tone of the little description was very. I felt bad for the painter.
It was pretty funny. So it was really nice. And then some of the stuff is actually not in Greece anymore. There's some stuff that's in the Louvre and other things in the British Museum.
Yeah.
And actually, I do recall hearing a news article that Greece is trying to get things back from the British Museum. So, that might not be surprising. But so there was actually I actually took a picture yesterday when we were at the Parthenon of a certain section with 6 statues of goddesses over some I think the first leader of Athens' tomb or something. I can't remember. I know one of the kings.
Very king, a very important first something figure. His tomb. I took a picture of these 6 goddess statues that are over this tomb, but actually they're not real when they're at
they're replicas.
They're replicas, and there are 5 in the Acropolis Museum here, and there's 1 in the British Museum. Yeah. So that was interesting because I didn't know that. I thought they were the real thing. I just assumed they were real,
right.
But no, apparently
not.
But
I guess they're trying to protect them from the weather, and it's unfortunate that the one is not with the other ones. But that is really a nice reason to go to the Acropolis Museum because they're really nice. They actually have a special section for them. And there was dioramas as well. So
it was interesting. I like those.
It was.
I always like those.
We were there for what, 3 hours? 3.5 hours?
Yeah, we were there for a while.
Yeah, we had to.
I mean, you probably could go through it in a quicker amount of time, but we didn't really.
Yeah, we had to head down to the port.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was a little section on how they're restoring the unearthing the archaeological dig sites
and they also show, because when you go up to the Acropolis, you'll see a lot of scaffolding, not just scaffolding but tracks where they're moving the marble, and they show video of how to do that, how they're doing that, so that is really interesting. Sorry, I just wanted to forget not to forget, this was a no cat day.
No
just
cats
to be
today.
consistent, we didn't see any cats today, but we weren't walking around too much. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
I was gonna say the clear floor or the transparent floor on in the front of the museum that actually continues throughout the museum, so you can look down.
I'm gonna hopefully I'll put some video of that.
It's very interesting. Yeah. So that's not just in the front of the museum. That's everywhere in the museum.
Very, very cool. So if you aren't listening to us on YouTube, try to head to YouTube and you'll see some video, and also see the ocean behind us.
Yes.
So today we're just gonna relax and enjoy and figure out how this whole cruise thing works.
Yes.
So this is my second cruise, but I haven't done this for 25 years. So
that's a long time.
I don't know. I'm not a big cruise person, but when in Greece, it's nice.
Yes, it's
very
nice. The water is very blue. So is the sky.
And we will. We'll tell you where we're at tomorrow. We'll leave that as a surprise. So please keep listening to the podcast, and you'll find out what we've learned and where we're going. So thank you so much. Hi there, welcome back to Birds on Power Lines, and this is another day of our Greek adventure. And we spent the day in Santorini, and behind us is part of the island, which is Caldera, and our stateroom is facing outward, so you don't see the traditional whitewashed village of Santorini, on Santorini, which is actually Fira, that you usually see. So you see the volcanic rock of the caldera from our stateroom. So we had a great day, and by the way, it was how many cat day?
It was an 8-cat day today. We actually saw some kittens today.
Yeah, so
very cute.
That might count for more cats. We happened to catch them up.
Yep.
With our kittens. So we started off the day. Cable car versus donkey. That will be your first.
The first decision you make on the way up to the island of Santorini,
which would be Fira. So Fira is the capital.
Fira is the capital, and that's the main port. Only port? Not
no, that's main port. It's
the biggest port.
It's the one where most cruise ships will send tenders to, which is the other thing. We had to take a tender from the ship out to the island.
Because I think they said the port actually is not big enough for our ship.
Right.
Yeah.
So celebrityinfinity is what we're on, if you didn't catch that yesterday. So we used the tender, went out to Fira, and we chose cable car.
Yes.
It's €6 one way on the cable car. If you don't take the cable car, you do the
donkey.
Yes. Or you go up the donkey path.
Yeah, or you walk.
And I'll tell you, when I was here 25 years ago, I did the donkey path. I didn't do the donkey. I walked up the donkey path.
I would have done the donkey.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. But anyways, the only thing is, it's fine. It's a pretty steep walk, but it's hot, and the stones are polished because of centuries, I guess.
Donkey hooves.
And the donkey hooves, and plus the donkeys leave presents all over it. So if you do that, you need to be prepared to deal with that. And I just thought, I'm not doing that this time. But you can do that, and it's like I said, if you use the cable car, it's €6 to go up. And you only pay one way at a time. So you can easily do the donkey up and take the cable car back if you want to do that. Or the other way around. Actually, can you do the donkey back down? I don't know.
I didn't see that.
I'm not sure if you can do the donkey back down, because it's actually pretty slippery. But anyways, so...
So after that, we caught a van out to Ia, which is spelled O-I-A, but the O is silent.
Yes.
It's also very, very, very pretty there. Looks pretty similar. There's a lot. I think that's where the windmills, the famous windmills, are.
Yes, the ones on Santorini, you have to go to Ia for that.
Yeah.
And I think really, what we would say about the day is that there's lots of shopping, but I think just enjoying the beautiful views and the
water is very blue. It's very like the blue that you see in like the famous eyes. If the glass, the blue is like that blue.
That is the color of the ocean.
That's the exact color.
It's so beautiful. Right now the sun is setting, so you don't see it as like that. So it's not, but
it's very blue.
And again, we're going to try and put some, if you're listening to us on an audio platform, try to go to us on YouTube, and you can see, we're going to put video in the upper corner, because that's my plan. If that doesn't work out, it's going to be a disaster, but I will make it work. That's just why we're off center. And hopefully you'll be able to see some of that. I took some video of the cable car as well. And food. We have to talk about food. When we were in Ia, we went to a place. It was earlier, so we had sort of a brunch. And I tried two Greek things. So a granita, which basically is almost like a fruit slushy. Like I had a peach granita, and it's really like pureed peach, which was frozen with some peach juice. So it was really refreshing. So a granita. And then the other thing I had was called the strapassata, which is basically eggs with tomato, like scrambled eggs with tomato on like a roll,
Brioche.
a brioche. I don't know if it's always a brioche, but it was really good, and there was a small salad with that. So that was the Greek food that I had to. Obviously, we also had Greek yogurt. Actually, I did. We didn't go to breakfast together. I had Greek yogurt for breakfast with the granola and fruit, and something that wasn't Greek. Sticky bun.
I had that too.
You had the sticky bun? Yeah. So, because we're, if you're on a cruise, you don't always get Greek stuff. There's always something Greek, but yeah. So, and then we went back to Fira.
Yep. And again, the views there are very beautiful. Lots of shops, more shops. There's a lot of, I noticed a lot, like almost everything is English, or at least it's like written in the English alphabet or the Latin alphabet.
Yeah.
Instead of the Greek alphabet.
So
because it's very touristy.
Didn't Spiro, like our guide,
cab driver from yesterday.
Yeah,
not yesterday.
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Didn't he tell us that they learn English in school here?
He might have.
I think that's their second language.
So
if you, unlike when we were in Sao Paulo, almost everybody does English. So we ran into a couple of people that only spoke Greek. So our driver that drove the van out to Ia today, he only spoke Greek. I mean, he might have spoken something else,
a little bit,
but he didn't speak English. Just very, very little. So we asked him some questions he couldn't answer. And I guess let me just turn the page over because we took notes so we wouldn't forget. Just make sure we didn't. Yeah, beautiful water. That's the other thing that was on the page. I wanted to make sure we didn't forget anything. So I think that's pretty much what we want to say today.
Yeah, more or less.
It was just coming to Santorini. I mean, Santorini is famous because it's beautiful. And it's just enjoying just being here. I wish we could just turn the camera.
And also, it's surprisingly very cool. It's a lot cooler than it was in Athens because of the breeze.
Yeah, but when we're like, if you're in the streets, in the shops and stuff, it gets pretty cool when the sun is coming down on you. But there is a breeze, so you can enjoy that. And oh my goodness, that's the other thing that, because there's a lot of people obviously come to Santorini. I mean, it's probably when you see pictures of the Greek islands, you're probably looking at Santorini, especially if you see the blue domed churches. And that's the other thing. When we went back to Firo, we went into one of the Greek Orthodox churches, and we also went into a Roman Catholic church. And the Roman Catholic one didn't have the roof, but it was also just.
The churches are very beautiful.
They're just beautiful, and it's just the whole scenery. But the thing I wanted to say is that if you stay on Santorini and you have a lot of luggage, we saw them.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people.
There's like people moving the luggage because there's just no easy way to get to the cliff face inns, and we saw these guys like rolling the luggage on it. Just like
down the steep
mental
stairs.
note: if you ever stay in Santorini, don't pack heavy. So that was kind of funny, but other than that, just enjoying the day and just doing the Greek thing. It's just gorgeous.
Very nice. Yes.
Right. So I think that's all we would say about today. But yeah, if you ever you can come to Greece, Santorini is the place to go. Right.
Very nice.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So we'll check back in tomorrow. So here we are on another day of Birds on Power Lines with our Greek adventure.
Yep.
And
sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, we were at sea all day today.
So it's a no-cat day.
Yeah.
So this was a sea day. So basically, we did all kinds of activities on the ship, and now it's night, so you can see the moon behind us. Again, if you guys are listening to us on audio, come to our YouTube location, and you can see what's in our background, which is actually
our ship
and the moon. And in the background, you can see one of the pool areas. Because there was just a silent disco, which we were both at.
We did it.
And that was fun. So we look a little hairy, but at least I do.
You do.
I do. But it was a good time. And that was the end of a day of activities. So I think the first thing we did was macrame.
Breakfast.
Breakfast. Well, we had breakfast. And then
we did
it was macrame. We had a macrame class.
Yeah.
And then we did a dot painting.
Yeah.
And I was doing a bit of work. And then you went with Dad and listened to some music.
Yeah.
And we had our fancy dinner today.
Yes, we had a fancy dinner.
There's 2 places where we can eat on ship. I mean, there's lots of places to eat on ship, but there's 2 places that are included with the price.
Yeah.
And you can hear still people in the background here that are having a good time. But we had our fancy dinner in the main dining place today, so we had to dress up. And maybe we should have done this after that, but
oh well.
So we'll have some video of some of our activities, and I took a bit of video of our hallway where we're staying.
Yes, it's very long.
It's very long. And what else did I do? I don't know. I took some video of your amazing dot painting.
Oh,
and
was it?
So we had a pretty good day on ship. But yeah, so that's about all we did today. Just enjoyed being on the ship, and then for the next few days we're back out exploring.
Yes.
So we will tell you next time what we're doing. And talking about that, so basically what we're going to do now is that we're going to wind down this episode of the podcast, and we will continue our Greek travel podcast in another podcast.
Yes.
Otherwise, this will just get to be really long. So
we don't want that.
No, because we want you to be able to listen to it. Look forward to that
in the future
in a separate podcast, which will come up fairly shortly after this one. We might try to mix stuff up, right?
Probably, yeah. Maybe every other or something like that.
Yeah, we'll see. But
something like that.
We will get it all to you. And should we give a little highlight as to what the next podcast will start with? Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we should.
Yes. So the next podcast, our shore day, will be in Turkey tomorrow. So our next podcast will start with our day in Turkey, and we'll be in Ephesus and going to the market.
I'm excited about that, and also the castle. Oh yes, the castle. Shore excursion.
So we will be doing that tomorrow. So catch our next podcast where we will continue this travel podcast of our Greek adventure. All right. So thank you very much for listening. And like we said, look forward to the next one. Thank you for being part of Birds on Power Lines.